sun, my heart's aligned. Peaceful and strong, this life is mine. Unstoppable steps, I move with grace. Accomplished and calm, I claim my space. The mirror reflects the truth I see. Slim and healthy, I'm proud to be. With youthful strength, I freely roam. This vibrant body feels like home. I rise on the hard path where dreams unfold. A life of freedom, a story bold. From all I create to the love I give, I rise, I shine, this is how I live. My home's a haven, calm and bright, with gardens blooming in soft sunlight. A deck to gather, a pool to play, a sanctuary space to end my day. My work inspires, it lights the way, empowering women to seize their day. Through retreats, my voice in all I've planned, I help them rise and take their stand. I rise on the hard path where dreams unfold. A life of freedom, a story bold. From all I create to the love I give, I rise, I shine, this is how I live. Across valleys, shores, and Europe's streets, adventure calls where dreams and purpose meet. With loved ones near or solo flight, every journey feels just right. Cars that gleam, my clothes just flow. An effortless life wherever I go. My business thrives, I lead with care. A world of abundance is waiting there. I rise on the hard path where dreams unfold. A life of freedom, a story bold. From all I create to the love I give, I rise, I shine, this is how I live. With family's joy and laughter near, I walk this path with love and cheer. I'm balanced, warm and strong and true. I shine with purpose in all I do. This is my moment, my heart's design. I rise and thrive, the world is mine. On the hard path where dreams take flight, I shine my brightest, my guiding light.
Hello and welcome to the Identity Reset. This is a series tonight of the masterclass is who you are becoming in this season of life. So over this next hour, this is what you could experience. So tonight isn't about reinventing your whole life. It's about telling the truth about who you are now and who you are no longer meant to be. And there comes a season where the roles don't quite fit. The routines feel less automatic and the labels feel outdated. And instead of seeing that as growth, we often see that as being lost. Really, you're not lost, you're becoming. And becoming requires honesty. Might not feel like it now, but at the end of this session, let's hope we can find something for you that is going to be able to open up that for you. We are going to look into where you can reset this identity and to see what you've been carrying, which is either isn't yours or you've outgrown it and you don't need it anymore. And it's just like when we have a wardrobe of clothes that often we, for some reason, we stop wearing them, and it's either because they don't fit us anymore or they just don't feel like us anymore. And because we've grown and our identity has changed and that piece of clothing doesn't align with us anymore. And it's just like that. We clean out our wardrobe. So if we're going to clean out our wardrobe, why wouldn't we have a clean out of all of the things that are holding us back in our life? So this is exactly what we are going to be doing tonight. So before we can reset our identity, we need to see what we've been carrying. So one of the things that I'd like you to do tonight is we've got some journaling to do. And if you haven't already, I'll just give you a quick minute to quickly go and get some paper, a pen. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can literally just be a scrap of anything. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a few questions and I'm going to give you time to write that. I will, at the moment, there's no one on the call here with me, so I'm going to just go through and you can pause in between these questions for whatever feels right for you. So the first question, I want you to think about what roles have defined you in the last 10 years. So the question is, what roles have defined me in the last 10 years, meaning you? And I want you to think about that, journal on that, and see how that feels. Think of all the hats you've been wearing over the years, the different, maybe you've had different employment roles. Maybe you've had been involved in sporting clubs and you've had roles within those as your children have been growing up. All of those roles are important and they have given you some skills to keep you, like to present you as the woman that you are today. Okay, the next question is, when you look at that list, which of those still feels aligned? So for me personally, I have, in the last 10 years, a big part of my life was when I was the secretary of the go-kart club. And I have a whole story around why I resigned from that position. And you can freely find it on my YouTube channel. It just didn't align with me anymore. And it was painful to step away, but it was the best timing. Also, my current employment as a teacher, I don't necessarily feel as aligned in that. And I'm taking steps to reduce my hours there. So these are just some examples of things that I have done, which I think I'm working on. I've either changed it or I'm working on it, that I still need to change that alignment. So remember, after each of these questions, pause it and do your own journaling. And when you look at that list, which one feels heavy? And the heavy ones are the ones that maybe you had to put a lot of work into, or maybe there wasn't well, it wasn't a complete a complete closure on the resolution of what it was, and there could still be anxiety around it. There still could be feelings, and if it's something to do with family or friends or family, that can, that can feel very heavy. So which ones feel heavy? So have a think of that one. Pause it. And then the last one is which feel complete. So if you look at back all of those things over the last 10 years, the roles that you have taken on, what feels complete. And, for me, I think my children are 18 and nearly 23. And that I feel there's a level of completeness there because I'm no longer responsible as such for them, even though they live here with me still. They're still very much in my life. My oldest one, especially, he doesn't come to us for advice as much anymore. He has a girlfriend. He has they are designing their own life together. So that feels more complete for me. So, yeah, what is something that feels complete for you? Remember, you can pause this. So I want to say that these roles are not identity. These roles are little containers that came along at a particular point in your life, and for that moment, it was something that you learnt from it. It was something that you may have got some skills from it. You met beautiful people. You met life lessons. So these little containers along the way have what all of these built together has constructed you into what you are today. And sometimes you outgrow the container before you give yourself permission to step out. So sometimes you might still be in that container, which is why it feels as if it's still heavy, as it feels as if it's not in alignment anymore. And if it's feeling heavy and it doesn't feel quite right, then maybe you've outgrown that and you need to give yourself permission to step out and step into something new for you, a new chapter. So hopefully you gave yourself enough time to do your journaling on that, because it's a very good process to go through. And right now we are in a period in human design. We're in gate 63, which is up here in the head, and it's the gate of doubt, and it's a gate that really asks us to question what more is possible. So this is perfect timing for this. I didn't plan it like this, but it is perfect planning for this. And then we have had a full moon a couple of nights ago. We've still kind of got the last bit of that full moon energy. Full moon is a great time to get rid of what no longer serves you. So yeah, we're still going through this, and you don't need to I guess you don't need to hesitate and think, how is this going to work for me? Sometimes just giving yourself permission to accept what it is and step out of that situation is enough, just to do what we need to do, okay? And that what we need to do now is we need to shift that energy. So we're going to look at what no longer fits now. And before we talk about who you're becoming, we need to confront what's actually running your life right now. So these are not intentions. This is not a vision board, anything like that. this is your beliefs. So I'm going to be playing a short excerpt from my Rise and Thrive, my Thrive frequency that I created probably about, this time last year, I think. It's a 10 series, a 10 session series, which is available to purchase. And we're just going to have a look at one of them, just for a little, about 3 minutes, and I'll give this to you in the replay so you'll get the whole thing. And as we're going through, I just want you to think about this. You don't necessarily have to write straight away because I won't be pausing this. So it'll just be coming through, and it gives you an idea of things of what I would like you to be writing about in this section, when we're actually rewiring the story of the beliefs that we're telling us. So you can get your journal open and you can write down notes, but there will be, when you get the replay in the email, that is probably a better time for you to unpack more of this because you'll have more time. You can pause it, stop it, and so forth. Okay, so I'm going to start sharing my screen. And we are going to go to here. And hopefully this works because I don't have any way of asking anybody. So let's go. Rewrite them. So let's walk through the process. We're going to shift these beliefs. Open up your journal. And I want you to write down every belief you can think of that feels like it might be holding you back. So what do you believe about money, love, your self-worth, your body, your confidence, your success? Now let this be a messy process. This list might take some time, so give yourself permission to keep adding to it throughout the day. When something pops into your head like, oh, I'm no good with money, or I'll never find love, don't brush it off, write it down, add it to your list. Once your list feels full enough for now, pick one belief to work on first. Ideally, it ties into the intention that you set back on day one. Then ask yourself, why do I believe this? What's the evidence I've been using to back this up? What assumptions am I making? What's missing from this belief? So here's some examples. So let's say your belief is, I'm not confident enough to change careers. And what's the evidence? I've always played it safe. I've been in the same job for years. Other people seem more qualified. And then you challenge it. Have you ever taken a brave step before? Do I have transferable skills I'm not giving credit to? What am I assuming about what's required? Another example. Say your belief is, I'm not good with money. And the evidence might be, I've had a credit card debt. I've never learned how to budget. But ask, is that really the truth? Then you shift it to, I'm learning how to take care of my money and I'm getting better every day. So you're not erasing your past, you're just choosing a new story. Okay, perfect. That's a good place to leave it. We'll stop the sharing. Okay, Come back. So after listening to that little bit, I want you to you can pause, and this would be you've got the in your email of the replay you've got the link to it, so maybe listen to the whole episode, and when you've done that, so pause this, listen to the other one, and come back, and I want you to read back what you wrote. Okay, just read over everything that you wrote. And if this is the voice that's shaping your decisions, is this your current identity? So that's the question you will be asking yourself. If this is the voice that's shaping my decisions, is this my current identity? And as you're reading that list, I'm wondering which of these beliefs feel old for you? And which of these beliefs feels protective but limiting? And that could be that it might be something that you've always done and it always feels safe, even though you know that you're not going to really get out of your comfort zone doing it, or you're not going to be trying anything new, you're not going to be taking a risk. It's protective because it's the same thing that you keep doing all the time and you know that it's safe. And everything on that list, is there something there that feels rehearsed rather than true? As if you are performing for someone else's ideal, not yours. And is there something on that list that you're tired of carrying? That you can say, that's it, enough. I've had enough now. Cannot step into a new version of yourself while you're protecting the beliefs that built up the old one. Good news is, though, you've written them down, and writing them down means that you've actually acknowledged them, and you can start to see the patterns that are evolving in this list. And this process that we're doing tonight is very similar to the process that we follow in my day retreat that I hold, Reignite and Rise. It is built around the pillars of recognizing where you've come from, of rewriting your next steps, and then releasing that. That's the pillars that that day is surrounded on, and this is a little taste, I guess you can say, into how if we're going to achieve a lot in an hour, how much you can achieve in a whole day when you go through this. Because you are where you're supposed to be. Where you are right now is exactly where you're supposed to be. And all of those lessons you've learnt them for a reason. And we don't want to forget them. We want to acknowledge them. And we want to take some of them with us into our next chapter. Leave some behind, take some with us. Okay, so I want you to think about if some of these scripts that you've written down weren't running, who would you be? And this is where you can have a great opportunity to step into the next chapter. What is possible now? So these are some journal prompts that I want you to think about as you think about that list. And I want you to think about, if you stopped trying to be who you are now, who would you be? And this could be something that you know inside of you. It could be something where you can use your imagination to create something that you've never thought of before. Because maybe up until now you haven't realized that some of these things that you've written down are things that you want to release. And that can happen. And if you have come across that tonight, thank you for being brave. Thank you for going all in. And if you need any, like, just hit reply on the email, and I'll be able to step you through it. I also want you to think about what qualities feel more like me now. Okay, so it could be that some of the things that you were doing since you've written them down, that you may have already been able to reconstruct that a little bit. So it does feel a little bit more aligned. And that sometimes that can happen that quickly, just in a few minutes. As soon as you write it down, you can feel it in your body. And the universe will send you an idea on saying, this is what you could do. And I also want you to journal on, what am I craving more of in this season? So this is the season of writing your next chapter, of taking the next step, of doing something different. And maybe you've planted seeds already that either maybe you haven't noticed them yet, or maybe they're still just starting to sprout and you want to have more of that. And so that you can start putting that into your movie script that we're writing. And I wonder what the next version of you that you would like to prioritize. So what's the next version that you would like to prioritize of yourself? So therefore, journal prompts that you can think about. And then I'm going to ask you this question. There's a lot of questions in this one because it really is about you diving deep into discovery of what is no longer serving you, what seeds you've planted, and what you already have in motion that you can use. So when we do small shifts, a small shift really reflects on who you're becoming. And a small shift could be an intentional move. It could be something that happens outside of us, and we're kind of forced to shift something. And last night I was at it's International Women's Week, and I was at an event last night, and I think it was Kate Collins said that, if you are trying to choose things, if you're coasting along a little bit too cruisily, often something will happen. The universe will come along and say, hey, and kind of knock you off, and they'll jolt you, and something drastic will happen. So we don't really want to get too cozy there. We want to keep going along, and trying to write this next script ourselves. So I want you to think about, what is one boundary that you can change, introduce, practice? Okay, one boundary. What is one habit that you can refine, introduce, change, stop? Okay, maybe you've got some negative habits. One of the things I talk about in Your Best Year Yet, we have a whole month on kind of like intentional habits, and we do a lot of work about on especially screen time and comparison to other people. And if you are doom scrolling on your screen, there's a lot to compare. When you see that, a lot to compare, there's a lot that can bring you down. So maybe that's a habit that you can shift. Is there one conversation that you could have with someone else that could start a small shift? And it could be, maybe it's an uncomfortable situation. Maybe it's something where you need to rip the band-aid off and just talk to someone about how you're feeling. And if you are going to do that, remember that when you're doing that, to come from a space of being in response. So you're not going to be reactive. You're not going to be judgmental. You are you're just staying in the story of what's happening from your point of view with feelings rather than being judgmental about the other person. And what is one thing that you can give yourself permission for? What is that one permission slip that you can give yourself to let go of something, to take on board something, to change something? Just one thing. Okay, so we're looking at a boundary, a habit, a conversation, and permission. And my advice to you, whichever you decide to do, is to keep it practical and keep it as something that you can really embody and you believe it. Now, I do have my life in particular, I live my life around my values. A lot of the decisions I make and the way I live my life, I live around my values. I have very strong values, and I also have a free ebook for values. So if I'll include that in here as well. I'll just write a note. If you have had these sessions before, you already will have it because I think I've done it in all of my sessions. So when you have your values, this is a really good place to fall back to, where you can really think about how you can embody these decisions, and if they're in alignment with your values, then it's going to be easier to embody them. Okay, so I just want to remind you that identity doesn't shift in grand gestures. So unless there's like a life-changing event, the shifts happen when you make repeated choices. A little step, a little step, a little step, a little step, and then it starts to increase and it builds momentum. And suddenly these little shifts have become part of your normal everyday life now, and you're not really choosing to do them every day because they're part of your routine. So an example of that is my morning routines. This year in particular, I'm being very intentional about my morning routine because I have a personal marker to reduce stress in my life. And for me, that includes utilising my sick leave effectively. And it also means that I'm going to be having really strong routines before work, after work, so that I can go to work feeling refreshed. And when I get home, I've got something in place where I can de-stress. So in the morning, I'm doing meditation, breath work. I'm going for a quick dip in the pool. It's like, at the moment, it's just like having a cold shower. But I have done it before in winter, and it is like a proper ice bath because it's very cold. And a bit of journaling. So that does take time, but it's probably only about 45 minutes, okay, which isn't a long time. 1% of your day is 14.4 minutes. So when I look at it on that perspective, it's only about 3% of my day. When I get home from work, depending on what day it is and also depending on the weather, I might quickly put on some walking shoes and just go for a quick 20-minute walk. Doesn't even have to be very long. 15, 20 minutes. I've got like a couple of routes I can do around in this around where I live, which will take me 15, 20 minutes. If I feel like it, I could even go for a half an hour, depending on how busy I am. So this is about how you create the momentum. I'm a bit dry. So this is how you create the momentum. So tonight wasn't really about motivation. It was about bringing an awareness to you so that you could start whatever it is that you need to get into the momentum of making this shift. Okay. All right. So the bridge to frequency. Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do tonight is we've gone through all this. I invite you to pause this as much as you can. And what we did tonight was we've caught up on identity scripts in real time. Okay, and the recording that we listened to that's section 4, I believe, of my 10-part series. It's called the Thrive Frequency, and it walks you all through the story of rewriting your story. It interrupts all the autopilot habits, and there's a lot of future placing in there. There's a breath work. There's each session. It's not really a meditation. Each session has something which continues to work on things you might need to align, things that you can introduce, things that you can embody, and it's done in a way that is designed so that it's like a little maintenance check along the way. So it's not like suddenly adding a lot of new things. It's just like little things along the way. So if you want to continue this reset in a structured way instead of slipping back into autopilot, all you need to do is just reply to that email if you would like to purchase the full 11 sessions. It's $55, and I can hook you up with that pretty easily. Okay, just letting you know that that's available. So I just want to remind you that you're not broken, you're not behind, and the best of all is that you are becoming. And becoming requires courage. And sometimes courage means that you do have to try something different. And if you're not sure on what that different could be, message me and I can work it out with you. As a human design specialist, I can absolutely help you with finding permission slips. There are so many permission slips within your human design that give you the authority to make fantastic decisions and manifest anything in your ideal world. It's such a beautiful modality to be familiar with. So for tonight, I want to thank you for coming along and for being willing to look inside yourself. Because when you look inside yourself, not only is there a beautiful woman in there who has learnt so many things over the years, there is also parts that you can, disappear. Parts can disappear. There's parts you can keep, and there's other parts that you can take on board for the next chapter. Right, so thank you. That's all we have for tonight. I hope you got a lot out of this. I want to remind you that that I've spoken about the Reignite and Rise event, and the Reignite and Rise event is a day where we go through the 3 pillars and we rewrite. We recognize where we've come from, and then we release all of that and we rewrite our next chapter. And it does include an optional ice bath, which is amazing at the end to step into your full power and do something which is brave and risky that you might not have done before. It is so good. The last one that I had, it was extremely powerful. And I was just speaking to a client who has worked with me a little bit in other things, and she went to Reignite and Rise about 18 months ago. And part of the activity we do in there is we do some artwork. And her artwork, I remember what it was. She had forgotten about it, and something had happened. And I said to her, "This is exactly what you drew in your picture." And she said, "Is it?" And she absolutely couldn't remember. And she went back and she found it and she said, "Oh my God," she said, "I cannot believe that." So it's very powerful. This is very powerful. So the 2nd of May is my next Reignite and Rise. It's in my home in the northern suburbs. So I will send a link to that also in this email, because you can have a look at the event and see whether that's right for you or not. And yeah, if you want to do Thrive Frequency, that's available to you as well. So one thing I was thinking about is that we have done a lot of journaling in this particular session, and if you did not get the replay from the first session of this, the January session, let me know, because I can do that. I can send you that as well. So in the first session, it was Overwhelmed to Clarity, and it was about journaling, and there was a process that I unfolded in there to help you with journaling. So that might be useful for you as well. Okay, well, I'm going to leave you there, and yeah, hit reply on the email and let me know how you went. See ya.